Hello there, you amazing viewers and subscribers, and welcome to episode 7 of my weekly series of ranking every single season of Doctor Who from 1963 to 2022. So as you can tell behind me, I've kind of changed my shelves a bit by adding CDs and Big Finish, me DVD spin-offs and DVDs up there, the Blu-rays at the top, and the DVDs continue down here-ish. So anyway, what is, of course, in 33rd place? You're probably wondering. So in 33rd place, it is no other than the 31st season of Doctor Who, which was broadcast from the 23rd of November to the 12th of September, 1963 to 1964, starring William Hartnell as the first Doctor. I consider this to be the weakest season of Doctor Who for the 1960s era in general. It's got some good stories in it, like the very first episode of The Untitled Child. The Daleks is amazing. The Aztecs and of course the Reign of Terror are the 4 good stories in it. Where for the rest, so really it's got like 3 good stories in it, and then 1 good episode from the first story known as the pilot from The Untitled Child. And then of course you have some stories that I really don't enjoy in this season, like the Keys of Madness, and the Reign of Terror, and of course the Edge of Destruction. I really don't enjoy those 3. Those 3, I get so bored watching them, and I just normally skip bits into it, try and find the interesting parts of these stories. And season 1 for me, it is the weakest season out of 1960s. People will probably say, oh, it's probably about season 3. I pretty much enjoy season 3. It's very high up in this list, season 3 is, even though it's got a load of missing stories in it. But the rest of it is pretty good. But season 1 has something that the rest of the seasons don't really have. Apart from growing from the grumpy old Doctor, and then by the time we get to the Reign of Terror, he's starting to mellow a bit over the course. So yeah, this is the longest season of Doctor Who, really, from basically the 23rd of November all the way down to the 12th of September, 1963, 1964. What is the good parts of this season, I'm going to say, is definitely the very first part, which is The Unearthly Child Part 1. I really do enjoy The Unearthly Child. Basically, I like the fact it starts off with this whole chaos mysterious mystery inside an old in a junkyard, where Susan's basically going to where basically you got Ian and Barbara following Susan, investigating her. So they go looking for her in this junkyard until they find a police box, and you got Ian touching the tires. He's like, "Do you feel that? It's got a faint vibration. It's alive." And I love when William Hartnell comes in, and then she goes, "What are you doing out there, grandfather?" And he's like, "Will you close the door?" I love the fact when Hartnell goes into the TARDIS for the first time with the whole lot, and he goes, "I believe these humans are known to you." Yes. They're two of my school teachers. See? They don't believe us. No. We're not from this Earth. We're not from this race. We're from the 4th dimension of space and time. I like when William Hartnell takes like the cloak and the scarf off, and then of course when he executes Ian by touching the TARDIS console, and she goes, "Don't touch it, it's alive," and he's like that is funny. I like how William Hartnell does his impression, and he goes, and when you got him like pressing the take off button, you got Susan going, "Oh no, grandfather, no," and you got Ian and Barbara trying to hold the first Doctor back. Basically, he pushes them off for an old man and reaches to the TARDIS console, and the TARDIS just takes off and goes into time and space. Some great stuff. And then of course we go to the next part of the story, which is like 3 parts of being in the caveman era, which I get so bored in this story. I turn it off after episode 1 normally. The only times I go back and rewatch it is either I'm doing like a whole Doctor Who marathon, or if I'm watching it on VHS. But I normally tend to watch episode 1 on DVD and go straight into the next story, which is known as the Daleks. A 7-part story. Really, it should have been 6 parts in my eyes. I really think 7 episodes do drag out in this story. I like the fact we got the Daleks, we got the Dalek City, the way the Doctor tricks Ian and Barbara and Susan, saying, "We've run out of mercury, we have. That means there's none outside, unless," yes, of course, "the city. Yes, we need to go to the city for mercury. Yes, I need mercury for the TARDIS." And I love how the fact they're one in the fouls. He goes, "No, there's a trap," and the Daleks just exterminating a few fouls and stuff. I really do enjoy this story, because it's like 7 parts, and I do think it's a bit too long. It should have been like a 6-part story. I absolutely do enjoy the story. I think it's good. Reign of Terror. Oh, what can I tell you about this story? Oh, what can I tell you about the Reign of Terror without it sounding... It's a two-part story with the TARDIS team stuck inside the TARDIS. So the TARDIS is leaving Skaro, going further away, and bang, beginning of the universe, really. And you got all the TARDIS team like turning against each other. Hartnell's there being very, very like he was in another child, being grunchy and stuff. Yeah, not going to say much on that. The next story is known as Marco Polo, which is a missing story of this season, but I do own it on Target Novel Book. And it does actually sound, when I read the Target Novel Book, it does actually sound like a good story. It's a shame it's actually missing. I would actually love to have this story existing so that way we can have season 1 complete. And I really would like to see this story complete. Either done through animation, or if they just find all 7 episodes of the Marco Polo, I really do want that. So then I could do a proper review on it. Keys of Madness. What can I tell you about the Keys of Madness? Is it a story that interests me? A little bit. It's got some good stuff in it. It's got some stuff I really don't enjoy in it. There's some stuff I get bored in. Susan's start is literally doing my head in a bit now. After watching the first 3 episodes, the 3 stories, and I don't really connect with Susan as much as I do with the First Doctor's next companion, aka Vicky. I connect with Vicky a lot more than I do with Susan as a viewer and stuff. And Susan just begins to annoy the crap out of me in this story. She really does. The only good thing about it, I like the kind of like the void, something like that, with the big kind of like disguise stuff. I do enjoy that story. That bit, but Susan just does my heading in this story. The next story after that is, of course, the Aztecs. Is it a good story? I can tell you a load of stuff what I enjoy about the Aztecs. I love the fact we got the First Doctor's line. You cannot rewrite history, not one line. Believe me, I know. Yes, I know. Ooh, yes. Yes, Barbara, I know. You cannot rewrite history, not one line. No, you cannot rewrite history. I do like when Hartnell does that. I like the fact he accidentally gets engaged to to a sheep. And the girl goes, "Oh, we engaged." He's like, "Yes, yes, 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 yes." But why would I know you? I do enjoy the Aztecs, and I like the fact that the TARDIS team doesn't really change history. They just like meddle it a bit, and then it resets itself by causing the sacrifice, which is a pretty good story. The Silence of Rights. Not many people love this story. For me, I consider this to be not as bad. It is not as great. It's a lot better than The Edge of Destruction. Is it better than The Keys of Madness? Actually, yeah. I actually prefer this over to The Key of Madness. I do like the Silence of Rights. I love the whole design and stuff. They remind me very much of the Ood from New Who era when I first watched this on DVD back in 2013. Was the first time I actually watched the story on DVD. And of course, I do enjoy it. Susan in this one is using her telepathics, because Time Lords are telepathics. It's not really picked up much in this later on the series progress, but Susan is basically using her telepathic powers, and the First Doctor is as well, when they make contact with the Sensorites and stuff. And I love the fact when he tells them off for stealing the TARDIS lock, he goes, "I want my property, and I want it now." And they're like, "Doctor, don't shout." He went, "You tried to use me against my granddaughter against me." "Yes. No, I cannot allow that. We have been traveling for a long time, and we have never argued. Have we, Susan?" I like the way the Doctor is in this story, telling the Aztecs off. Really too enjoyable. And then, of course, the next story is known as The Reign of Terror, set in the French Revolution. It is a good historian story, I have to admit. I do enjoy it. Episodes are animated in this story, which I do think is a bit of a letdown, really, going from live action to the animation stories, then go back to live action. I would have loved if we had this story existing as well. The Reign of Terror is going to be... I can tell if I keep rewatching it over and over again, it will probably be one of my favourite stories. I haven't really rewatched it since I tried doing that marathon like 2 years ago at the beginning of 2020. When I was doing a marathon starting from season 1, and I got all the way down to series 12 at the time. And then last year I didn't really do much of a break. I did actually enjoy the Reign of Terror. I think it's a good story. No aliens, threats and stuff. It's just basically showing how bad us humans used to be, specifically in the French Revolution. It's a good story. So that's mainly it about season 1. I do consider it to be the weakest kind of season out of the 1960s. The strongest season, I will probably say when we get there. But season 1 for me is basically the weakest 1960 season. It's a lot better than season 20, which is a lot better than season 16, 9, than season 9, and of course series 11, 9, and 12. And 2, sorry. Series 2, which is why it's very high up. It's still in the 30s column, but it's not as bad, because as I said to you when we got to 35, these are the ones that were starting to get good and starting to build up to the good quality that Doctor Who does seem to have. And I really do enjoy season 1, but I just like going back to rewatching 3 stories of it, which is basically the Daleks, of course the Aztecs, and, as you know, the Reign of Terror. They're the only 3 stories I pretty much do go back and rewatch quite a lot of the season. So let me know in the comments what you think of season 1. Do you think it's one of the weak seasons of the 1960s? Don't get me wrong, if this was ever released out in Doctor Who The Collection Range on Blu-ray, I would absolutely love to have it in the collection range, but it will still, no matter how much HD can change stuff, I really think this will be the weakest 1960 season. I mean, I love season 2. Season 2 is one of my favourites. Same with season 4 and season 5 and season 6. They are literally some of my favourite seasons out of all of Doctor Who and stuff, and you will find out when we get further on the list. So thank you for watching this video. Please do like, subscribe and share, and join me next week when I talk about the next episode of my weekly series, which will be episode 8, when I'll talk about 32nd Place. And I'm not going to spoil that for you, because I want you to wait and see what is in 32nd Place. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.